From the studios of KENW on the campus of Eastern New Mexico University, it's You Should Know, featuring the people and events of Eastern New Mexico and West Texas.
Welcome to You Should Know. I'm Evelyn Ledbetter, your host, and today my guest is Patricia Dominguez. She's our Rural Development Officer for the state of New Mexico through USDA. Patricia, thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me today. I appreciate it.
Definitely. I know you had a long drive coming in today from Albuquerque.
We did.
And you just turn around and go back.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
New Mexico is a very big state, and so in order to cover everything, it's on the road again.
On the road,
but it's a lot of fun.
Good.
I really enjoy getting out to see the rural parts of New Mexico. As our name says, rural development.
Rural development. That's what this is.
That's implied, and we're happy to be in small communities and helping them out however we can.
There's a lot more of the rural community than the big cities in New Mexico.
Exactly.
So I know you're from Pinasco, which is northern part of New Mexico.
Northern New Mexico in Taos County. I graduated from Pinasco High School, and I grew up rural myself. We did we had some like small ag, like really personal ag. We did have alfalfa. We sold that, but really just very much locally. And a small farm, if you will, chickens, pigs, some horses.
Rural New Mexico.
Yeah, a garden for personal use.
And then you went on to school at Albuquerque, right? At UNM?
I went to UNM.
Okay.
Yes.
And got a degree in?
Actually in biology with a minor in chemistry.
Well, you never know what you're going to do.
You don't, yeah.
And then how did you bump into starting to work with the politicians and the people within the state?
So interestingly, I worked for Bernalillo County for quite some time in a water program there, which really did fit my background. And Senator Bingaman's office had an opening for the natural resources portfolio. So he was on the natural resources committee, and I just threw my hat in the ring because if you don't try, you never know what will happen. And I got selected, and so that's really where I started the federal side of things. And he did retire, and I then later got picked up by Senator Heinrich's office because he also sat on the Natural Resources and Energy, or also sits on the Natural Resources and Energy Committee. So I continued through there, and in 2021 was completely honored. And
well, and he actually covers your hometown, right? He's the representative for that area.
He
correct?
Is, yeah. So in 2021, I got selected by President Biden to be the USDA Rural Development State Director. It's a complete honor and privilege.
And that's one of the few places within that has an appointment from the president.
It does, yes. And the state, there's probably roughly about 5 or so.
That's
complete and total honor for it.
Congratulations, and thank you for taking in the spot.
Yes, you're welcome. Thank you.
Oh, for sure. So what we're going to talk about a little bit today is the rural development and the housing projects. So tell me what that is.
So one of our many programs is homeownership. It's we celebrate Homeownership Month every year, and we try to highlight all of our programs, but homeownership is something special. And so once a year, we highlight that particular program, and we focus on just letting folks know, what it is we do. I think sometimes rural development is, not the most, what would we say, exciting. Some of our programs, they're, what do we call them? They're really necessary, but not necessarily exciting. And so, just kind of home ownership is very exciting.
It's very exciting. So scary.
A little bit scary
when you're signing on to a note, but to feel like you actually own something and have a home to go to every single day is huge.
And, everyone of every income level deserves the opportunity for a home. And so we do target, lower income folks, low income to very low income, and try getting them to a place where they can afford a home. And so that's what we try to highlight. And it could be, we have a variety of programs. So if you're not quite ready, maybe we can put you in our, basically a USDA subsidized apartment maybe, and help you get to the place where you need to be to have enough credit or whatnot to move into potentially homeownership. And so we go around the state during that month and just kind of cheerlead for that program.
So literally the month of May?
Of June, actually.
Of June is when you actually
Yes.
really do a big push along with the rest of the year.
Yes.
And that's an annual program?
It runs every month of the year. June just happens to be the month we highlight it.
The celebration month.
Yeah. So if you have, if you see this and, you're not quite ready, say you're ready in, September, December, whenever, please stop by and or call the office and or hit our, website and
find out what's going on.
See what's going on.
Well, every time, if you have an inflation and the Fed start increasing interest rates to try to hold that, to keep inflation in check, if you're starting to think about buying a home, it has a big impact. That 1%, 2%, 3% interest rate
It does.
is huge. So I actually was not familiar that this program was for homeowners.
Yes.
I'd always heard of USDA, but I thought it was actually more of a federal, bigger size program. So I did not know that. But do you know what the home ownership rate is in New Mexico?
So right now it's 4% for low and very low income borrowers, although the interest rate when modified by a payment assistance, which can be part of the program, can be as low as 1%. So we really do our best to make it accessible and affordable to homeowners who may otherwise not be who a bank is looking for. And so they can come to us. And like I said, we really do our best to try to find ways to bring them into the program. So, some folks maybe don't have traditional sources of credit. So we'll look at other things.
Okay.
If you've been successful in, paying your car, we'll look at that. Your cell phone, utility bills. We'll do a variety of checks to see if you are keeping up with those on a monthly basis, and we'll potentially use those as a way to show you're credit worthy. And so we're a little less stringent than some of the banks, but folks of every income level deserve the opportunity to build that wealth, if you will, through equity of owning a home and maybe passing it on down to their children later.
This is kind of a silly analogy. When I was in high school English, we'd ask how to spell something. The teacher would say, well, go to the dictionary and look it up. Well, how? I don't know how it's spelled. When you go to buy a home, you need good credit. How do you get credit when you haven't done anything? You're young and you haven't established that. So like you said, if you can look at bills, monthly bills, and it shows a pattern that you're a good pay, and you're consistent, so you can actually start increasing that credit score and those sorts of things, right? Okay.
And once you get into a home, it's very, that really just boosts your your credit in so many ways, and it's also an asset. So we're really excited.
For most of us, I think our home is probably our biggest asset.
Probably so. Yeah.
And if you buy it and take 15, 20, 30 years to pay it off, the appreciation on that, that is your largest asset, possibly. So.
It's a good investment. And like I say, you might be able to pass it on to your kids and whatnot. So it's great.
So a little bit in this direct and guaranteed home loans. Can you talk me through that?
So direct loans are loans you'll have directly with the agency. And for folks who actually can get a bank to lend to them, we guarantee the loan essentially up to 80 to 90%. So if in the instances where they may default, which is doesn't happen a lot, but can happen, we will basically guarantee that loan to the lender up to 90%. So the loss for them is much less, and so it makes again the borrower more
willing to take that on.
Well, the willing to take on some clients they may not have considered. So the guarantee loan program also helps the banking community with their portfolio as well. So we some we take on, some the banks take on, and then they're able to basically build a also a mortgage portfolio, if you will, for, folks in their community as well.
So pretty much you act like the rural development acts as FDIC almost.
Almost, yes.
You're guaranteeing the bank versus the
bank.
bank guaranteeing us to keep our money safe.
Yes.
You're guaranteeing that this
Mhm.
person you're loaning money for a
Yeah,
house.
we're taking the risk on.
You are.
Yes.
Okay. Very
Mhm.
nice. Very nice. So walk through the application process of how this even gets started.
So I would suggest folks check out our website.
Okay. And go ahead and tell me what that is, and then we'll put this up later on the credits towards the end, I hope.
So folks should reach out to usually our state office is where we have the majority of the housing folks. That's really where they should start. So it's but the website is a wonderful place. www.rd.usda.gov
Okay.
/NM.
So if you're going to do a Google search, you would probably put in rural development,
USDA Rural Development, New Mexico.
and that'll get them on
you
track
to
to where they need to go.
And they can also call, which is 505-761-4950.
Okay.
And just basically get in touch with someone there. And it is very similar to, if you went to a bank and if there's paperwork you need to fill out and, paperwork you'll have to submit. But getting just as if you were, at a bank, you have to gather some paperwork. And you'll meet with a loan, single family housing specialist, and they'll, go through the process with you. So it'll, it's like less intimidating because you will be working one-on-one with somebody who is actually very interested in getting
you
getting you a place. Versus, sometimes folks try to weed you out. We're actually trying to bring you in.
We're wanting you guys that aren't maybe top notch or with the highest credit scores, or somebody that can't get in.
We're really trying to build that, build that type of wealth into a community, if you will.
Is there a deadline to apply for this?
So actually, you can apply anytime. Yeah, year round. So like you say, if you see this and, you just kind of keep it in the back of your head sometimes, maybe you're not ready. And, when you're ready, like think about us and give us a try. You do have to be in a rural community, as the name implies, rural development.
Okay.
There are some population limits. It's usually 35,000, which really covers almost every community in New Mexico outside of, the very kind of, urban, urban centers. So yeah, we're a good bet for folks that are low income and very low income.
And just get your foot in the door, and then you grow your credit, and then
exactly.
This will be. Can you get this type of loan more than once?
You can, if you maintain the if you're still within the eligibility portion.
So if you bought your first house and you're doing well, and you're looking still to do your second home, then this may still
you may
work
still
for you. Qualify.
Yes, but I suspect that you might have built you up
at that point. You're above the limit, and you can't.
Yeah, but if you still fall within the limits, yes,
then you're still eligible to come back in there.
But I would again suspect at that point, you might move on to a bank.
Right.
Yeah.
At that point, they might accept you, whereas before they wouldn't.
They may not have.
Okay, that's really interesting. So you have to, as an applicant for guaranteed loans, you contact your approved lender. And is there a list of those that you can find somewhere?
So we actually don't. We can't favor anyone lender. So but I suspect within some of the smaller communities, there's one or two lenders that folks will go to. But they would frown upon.
and I'm going to guess the loan paperwork on this is going to be. A lot of people may not know that. What all are they going to have to give the bank when they go in? What are they going to look for when they go in to do a loan?
I think each lender probably has their list. If you've bought a house, they usually come with a little checklist of things. But it's usually like, are you employed? Can you show your employment? Usually through pay stubs, probably your tax records, and again, do you if you're what does your credit score look like, which they can pull for you, so you'll be showing those types of documents to folks. And are you a resident for in our case, we target New Mexico
Sure.
residents. I don't know, but that's an issue for the banks. But but like if you are moving here, that we could potentially look into that for folks. But usually we really, our larger focus or folks that come to us are folks that already, live in New Mexico. So.
And I would assume your starting price on a home, that's going to vary.
So
Rural versus if you're Las Cruces, Albuquerque, Santa Fe, your median income is higher. Probably your median first home is much different.
Yeah, there'll be some higher prices. So,
but I grew up in Floyd, New Mexico. Housing was not real available, but the pricing is probably much different than what it would be in Albuquerque.
Oh goodness,
so
for sure.
Do you know an idea of like your median loan that you would do on rural development?
They did increase it basically they realized that prices just all around had gone up. So it's like, I think the term they use is modest housing. And so we're not buying mansions.
we're wanting to get you in a safe,
usually
comfortable
ends
home.
up being like 3 to 4 bedrooms depending on the size of the family. And I would say the average price now is between $200,000 and $300,000.
Is that not crazy just to hear that? You're gonna laugh. My first home was $24,000.
Oh goodness.
Here in Portales.
Oh.
And it was an assumable FHA loan on half of it, and then grandparents helped finance the other half.
Wow.
You can't even get a car.
You can't get.
I mean, you can't get a basic car for that now. But I'm not going to tell how many years ago. But I mean, these types of programs would be amazing because before, you had VA loans and things, but you had to be a veteran and different things. Are there points on this for different groups of our residents of New Mexico, as far as if you were military or if you're
actually the requirement is low to very low income.
Okay.
And you, as you mentioned, right, the VA also has some opportunities. So if you come in and these folks have been doing this for quite some time, so maybe you might, if you are a veteran, actually maybe the VA loan will be the better one for you. We're actually here to help. So if our loan isn't the best option, we will actually say like, hey, check out our sister agency. You're a veteran, so you qualify for this. We're really here to help folks.
It's not you don't get brownie points or a bonus for bringing people just for a rural development loan.
Yeah, no, we're happy to help, and if something else is better out there for you, we'll push you in that direction
and help you get the information that you need to go where you can to find something.
Yes.
So, the myth: it's hard to find a home. Is that?
So, I mean, honestly, it really does depend.
So right now, the last couple of years,
it
much more of a reality.
It's been a little bit more difficult, but as the economy starts to get better, I think folks are starting to buy and sell again. So you just have to be persistent, as in pretty much everything else.
And how about saying, well, buying a home is too risky?
Again, it can be frightening. You mentioned, right? This is a big basically step in folks' lives, but in recent years, we've seen that the market is getting better, if you will, and there's just more what would we call that? More options, out there. So it's I think sometimes clearly sometimes are better than others. But if that's the place you're in, you should really just at least start that process so you can educate yourself, right? And just determine, is this the right time for me? I think with everything that, we take on, especially if it's something large like that, that education process is what folks really, really need to take the time to read up. And again, that's something that we'll help folks with.
And
if it does not end up being the right time for you, we'll also
give you some ideas of how to build a better credit score.
How to build a better credit score. And a lot of what we do, interestingly, is education. There are little things you can do here and there to, educate yourself to get that better deal, if you will.
So tell me this, are there certain types of homes that don't qualify a modular home, a mobile home versus a brick and mortar?
Actually,
No.
they can also we can also purchase mobile homes. Yeah, so we can help folks with that as well. So sometimes folks will have the property,
Mhm.
and the mobile home in some cases makes more sense for them. So yeah, that would be an option as well.
And we start seeing the tiny homes now,
Ah,
which I kind of like. I
Mhm.
mean, it gives people an option that.
it does. I can't say that we've done any of those, but we could probably discuss it
And see if it
and
still
see if
qualifies as a home,
it still
even though it may be
qualifies.
only 500 square feet. It's still a
as
home.
as a home. I think there's probably a few things that you have to make sure that it's got the utilities and whatnot piece of it. So it can't be camping out.
It can't be a she shed in the backyard.
Yeah.
It actually needs to
It's
be a structure
structural home.
and put
Yeah.
down on a permanent type basis.
And
that's
a foundation.
okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Certain types of hookups that are required. Do you have to have hookups as far as for your data or internet or things like that?
So if you're buying in a subdivision, typically, actually, those all come built in. But rural New Mexico is not like that, right?
You don't have
so
a lot of
you don't
those.
have a lot of those.
You
But
don't.
usually, again, it's and what are they called? Communities will have their
Not a subdivision.
no, not a
or-
subdivision, but
Oh,
like
they're like you have to meet certain guidelines to live in this
yes,
community. Like
well,
not a homeowners, but
not a homeowners, but like
I can't think of the word
I know
either.
I can't think of it either. And it's like basically like an inspector will come out and say like your home, must because you're in a like not a subdivision, but what is it called? It's gonna bug me.
It is. I know. Just a qualified requirements within that.
Yes, you have to have a septic system, right? You
Sure.
can't be dumping waste. So those types of things. Yes, you will have to meet those requirements. And
Okay.
usually, electricity. If you're out in a rural community, the co-op, will come out and hook you up, and same thing. You have to get a permitted septic system
And running water.
and running water. Yeah, so those things will be required when hooking up.
And I guess
yeah.
basically different subdivisions have different requirements and different things that they go by. So the same on this.
This getting old thing. The word is right on the tip of my tongue, but I can't.
As soon as we wrap up, it'll come right to both of us at the same time. How about this? If you're late on your monthly mortgage, will I lose my house right away if I go through this?
So in all honesty, I know this sounds very counterintuitive. Lenders really don't want to foreclose on you. They actually want to get, their loan paid out and see it through.
Sure.
So really, it would be in your best interest to reach out to your lender and try to work through something. If we are the lender, reach out to us. And, different things occur in life. Life is
just communicate with your lender.
Just a series of, who knows what's going to happen
Bumps
tomorrow, bumps in the road. So communicate with your lender.
Okay.
Let them know what the issue is. And, I would say 9 times out of 10, they'll work with you to, basically help you see the loan all the way through.
And that happened a lot during different times where we've had struggles in the past that
Yes.
the bank might let you have a little bit of an allowance and add on
Mm-hmm.
some payments at the end and let you have a little
Yes.
bit of a leeway
Exactly.
while you're working out the problems.
And I think if you show good faith, I think they're, like I say, they really want to see the loan through. That's really how it works best. So
And typically it's going to be the same timelines of probably a 15, 20, 30
actually,
year note.
we have 30, 33, and in some cases, maybe 38.
Wow.
So yeah, that's the other thing is we do stretch it out a little bit longer to help folks,
Get that payment.
who need the assistance, build that credit up as they, as they're moving through the homeownership process.
I think that's something we could improve in high school is the business math and just learning about, an amortization schedule and what a difference of 1 percentage point is going to cost you in your note, and maybe getting a 30-year note versus a 15, but pay it as if it was a 15.
When I was in school, we still had to take home ec, and that was one piece of our. We had to get a budget, and they expected you to, buy all of your groceries and pay your bills, and it was very helpful. I will say
because probably most of us at that age have never done that.
We'd never have thought of it.
Okay, tell me again the website.
So it is www.rd.us.gov/NM.
And the phone number.
505-761-4950
Okay.
to our Albuquerque office.
Patricia, we appreciate all the work you do for getting people into houses. That's huge and such a sense of pride. It's just been great having you here, and hope we get to have you back soon.
Oh, absolutely.
One of these days.
I love coming in.
Well, thank
love
you.
to be a cheerleader for
Oh,
home ownership
well,
month.
thank you so much. And to all of you guys out there, thank you for watching. We will see you next time. Cheers.